Preserving the awe of living is the biggest inspiration I ever had to be a writer. Such a life-affirming idea may seem strange when pimping or discussing a dark and dreary vampire series like the Vampire Noctuaries, but it's the truth. There was one thing I noticed about careers early on in life, and that was this. Everyone who excels in life has no other interests. Think about it. Wolfgang Mozart wrote music. Was he famous for anything else? William Shakespeare wrote plays. Did he do anything more? Donald Trump became a real estate tycoon. Did he work as a biochemist on the side? Steve Jobs created a computer company. What else did he do? The Beatles were rock stars. Did they accomplish something other than being rock stars? Muhammad Ali was a famous boxer. Was he also a brain surgeon or an astrophysicist? This realization scared me to death when I was a kid. See, I wanted to excel in life, and yet I was so in love with so many things. And here I discovered I could never attain greatness in anything unless I focused on one path. No one ever attains greatness without focus. This was proven time and time again by everyone who is a household name. In the entire history of humanity, there's never been such a thing as a world-class actor, astronaut, musician, athlete, quantum physicist. Except, Buckaroo Banzai, of course. Even a guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? World champion bodybuilder, movie star, politician. He's one exception who excelled at many careers, but even he didn't do them simultaneously. He focused, one at a time. Hence, I was faced with an awful truth. What do I pick? What can I choose? Of all the wondrous things to live and see and explore in life, what do I truly want? Much to my chagrin, I couldn't possibly become a karate champion, an astronaut, a fighter pilot, a secret agent, and an action movie star all at the same time. I had to pick one and stick with it. There was one profession in the world, though, one option that encapsulated them all. I may not become any of those people, but for a little while, I could step into the shoes of all of them as a writer. I think that was my answer. Writers need to research and live and experience things in order to write about them. Suddenly, I realized that writing was the one profession I could imagine that would allow me the chance to experience all the other things life has to offer. Or at least writing would prove a valid excuse to do so. Therefore, when I first began conceptualizing the Gothic Rainbow, beginning volume of the Vampire Noctuaries in 1991, I started going clubbing. A lot. I knew I wanted the novel to take place in the counterculture of the goth industrial underground nightclub scene. Now, I had already been converted to listening to that kind of music, and I'd been to a Skinny Puppy show and The Cure's Disintegration tour, 15th row by the way, but I'd never gone to any nightclubs for those bands. Once I started going, I was hooked. What started as book research became a sincere interest in my life. I became a hardcore club kid, sometimes going out 3 or 4 nights a week. Now, considering I wasn't going to mainstream jock fluff chick clubs and only attending punk rock alternative goth clubs, that meant I was going to every single club in the scene. Set back in my birthplace of sinister Ohio woodlands and gray Lake Erie skies, I couldn't resist inserting some Los Angeles into Anund's Maelstrom Festival, concluding volume of the Vampire Noctuaries, once I had moved to California in real life. The characters only visit California for a brief time, but I wanted to articulate the silence of the Los Angeles basin in a way I had rarely seen expressed. See, anyone who grew up in the woods of Ohio and then walks in the mountains of Los Angeles will understand exactly what I mean. There is a constant sense of being watched upon the shores of the Great Lakes. The waters themselves know you're there. But gazing at the Pacific, you can feel it. The sea has not spoken the name of man in centuries. Ultimately, the duology of the Vampire Noctuaries is a series about redemption and salvation, not through a religious or spiritual means, but through the love characters find in each other. Wait, don't stop watching right there, okay? There are no teenage love triangle cliches or anything so trite as that. If you happen to be enraged in your own loneliness, don't worry, you'll like this story. It's not puppy dogs and sunshine after all, it's vampires. Thus, it may be a dark and dreary story of cruel and malevolent beings, but it's really about two people rescuing each other from the shadows. This isn't a tale about people escaping the dark forest and returning to the light. No, this is about building a cabin among those dread trees and calling the warmth of the hearth your home. In that way, darkness becomes light. Death reminds us to savor the wonderment of living. Shadows call us home to the sun. That is how I was not only inspired to be a writer, but to write the Vampire Noctuaries. The oldest adage about writing is, write what you know. And everyone has heard that advice a million times. I would contend that a less succinct but more accurate adage is, live an enriching life of which to write. For the greatest joy of writing is in the thrill of using language to meaningfully convey the subtle wonders of your limited time upon this glorious earth. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and catch you next time.